Do you want to become a millionaire in the cattle business? Well, absolutely. But simultaneously, you're also thinking, yeah, right. I've tried it, it's impossible, or not me. I don't have a big enough name. I could never do it. Look, talking about money, at least for me, is extremely uncomfortable. I'm not a money-driven person, so I never really studied or prioritized it. But I'm here to tell you that for much of my life, that is exactly where I messed up. I've grew to learn that if I wanted to have a great marriage, I have to be intentional with my finances. If I want to properly steward the blessings that God has given me, then I have to be intentional with my finances. If I want to live out my dreams and I want to live the lifestyle that me and my family want, I must be intentional with my money. That is exactly why I have created the Cattle Coach Academy. Through this course, I want to help you be so intentional with the decisions that revolve around your cattle business that you become a millionaire because of it. Running a cattle business offers a rich and rewarding lifestyle, but far too many of us succumb to the popular thought process that you only do it for the lifestyle because it's not an industry that you can make good money in. Struggling, stressing, just getting by, living under a low financial ceiling, and being okay with it, that is no dream of mine. And I do not believe that that is your dream either. Living the dream for me is having the ability and the means to walk on a piece of property that I own. Have the opportunity to work the land and the cattle on it every single day. It is operating in financial freedom where with my finances, I can give, I can grow, I can provide. It is having precious time to invest into my family. This is what my picture of an abundant life is. This is me living the dream. Admittedly, my journey took far too long for me to get into a money mindset to be able to experience this dream. Today, however, I am humbled to say that I am living the life that I thought I would spend my entire life merely chasing. One I felt like I would always chase but never actually get to tangibly experience it. However, through the mindset shifts that I have learned and God's grace, I am actually living the dream. Thank you, Lord. Currently, I am an owner in Bullnanza Stud Services, a custom bull collection and semen sales company that has 2 locations in Sweetwater, Texas and Stillwater, Oklahoma. We are trusted with housing and working with some of the top bulls in the world. I am also an owner in Express Livestock Genomics, a genetic defect testing company for cattle. Cattle producers from just about every state have been able to utilize ELG to help their programs. And finally, my first baby, my biggest passion, and the one that has taught me more than anything about the cattle business is QB Cattle Company. QB Cattle is my show steer business that heavily utilizes embryo transfer and concentrates on making great American show cattle. I started QB Cattle Company in middle school. I owned 1 heifer, and boy, did I have big plans. By high school, I got really risky and took out a $5,000 FSA loan to expand my operation. Fast forward through years of programs, banks, and loans, my operation grew to nearly 100 head. However, so did my debts. I was a couple $100,000 in debt at one point, but my equity ratios were okay. I was comfortably paying my bills and the banks. I just could never afford to put any money in my own pocket, and I definitely couldn't afford to hire any help. Oddly though, at this time of low profits, QB Cattle Company and its clients had major show ring success. I was seeing fruits of my labor in a lot of areas of my business. Families that I worked with were being positively impacted. We were winning. We had our single best year ever where we had multiple breed champions at 3 different Texas major shows. That escalated QB's winnings total to over 20 breed champions in its lifespan. I was averaging well over $5,000 per bull calf, had a stable of great clients, and the show ring accolades were following suit. In addition to that, I had the best set of calves that I've ever had on the ground to do it again with. My operation had reached a place that was successful and well known, but the profits, they simply weren't there. That is when I began to look around at my peers, and I noticed that I wasn't alone. This is exactly why the stigma around the industry is so money poor. It's tough. You can have success. You can put everything that you have into it, not hold anything back, not time, not money, not blood, nor sweat or tears, and still nothing. That is exactly why it's easy to blame the industry itself. It can't be me. I've done everything that I could possibly do. I've given everything I possibly can to it. It's not me. It's got to be the industry. So financially, I get it. We can't help but feel hopeless at times. Getting over the hump where I could trust the cattle business to be something that supported my family financially seemed impossible. If I gave any more of myself and my resources to it, my wife was going to go crazy on me. My kids, they were going to have a father that was simply nothing more than a provider. And that's only if I figured it out. I was in this financial and unsettled internal rut for years. How do I break through this ceiling? Through much prayer and soul searching, in May of 2021, I laid down my pride and made the hardest decision of my life. I sold every cow I owned. I wasn't raised to be a quitter. Yet, at the same time, this decision, I wouldn't feel that I was called to be out of the business. Selling was just something that I needed to do and do it without fully knowing why. This was such a conflicting decision for me. Even though I had this thought to sell, part of me also felt like I could just break through by sticking with it. Although there were things in the business that were tough, such as life, right? Why quit and sell out at the pinnacle of your business's life? It was because the one thing that was clear in this decision was this. My pride stood the biggest chance of loss, but my home life stood the biggest chance of gain. That is why I knew exactly what I had to do, and so I did it. In result, the sale blew me away. Financially, it doubled what I thought it might gross. In that one day, I made well over $600,000. However, that was not the biggest or the only blessing that came from it. It was the positive transformational impact on those around me. It was the inspiration to others in the industry to stand up and be bold. It was the opportunities that it presented my peers by sharing those genetics that had so richly blessed me. It was the time it gave back to me to spend with my wife and my kids. It was the reset from the head down, blinders on, hustle and bustle that ranch life can smother you with. It was this fresh new perspective that I gained. You see, I now had time and finances at my disposal that I had never had before. During this season, I learned financial lessons, responsibilities, skills, strategies, and habits. I saw not only the wrongs that me and so many others in the cattle industry do, but most importantly, I was able to see the ways that they could be done better. I could now, like never before, see a way through. I had the most powerful gift that God gives humanity. I had new hope. Presently, being years down the road and looking back at the experiences that shaped me, it is amazing to see the fruit that God has brought forth since the Climb sale. The cattle that were purchased from me in that sale have continued their legacy for their new owners. They have raised banner-winning offspring every year, and most notably this year, rewriting the history books. Most notably, the B10 cow had the 2025 Grand Champion steer of the show, an American steer to boot. That is a feat that has never been accomplished in the history of that prestigious show. Another cow in that sale, the famed 5319, boasted 3 banner hanging steers in the 2025 San Antonio and Houston livestock shows. That put her into the double digits for the number of major show banners her offspring have won in her lifetime. Today, I am almost 2 years into the reascent of QB Cattle Company and the rebuilding of my herd. I have taken the lessons that I've learned and this new perspective that I was given and put them into practice. With this fresh start, I've been able to, in just 2 years' time, clear nearly as much profit as I did in the entire previous 15 years of business. I know from experience what not to do and how not to do it. By the grace of God, though, I've also been able to learn much of what to do. And it is my goal to teach you how to do just that. It is very important to me that you understand that I am in no way self-made. Any and all of the success that I have been able to experience comes from a stable of great men and women that have helped me along the way. The help and teachings that I am offering you are not my own. They are a collection of lessons and experiences I have gathered from others. Here with you today, I have only shared a small portion of my story. The full one is populated with people and operations who have generously shared insights with me or given me opportunities of work, cattle, or genetics. I carry experiences from people behind the world-renowned operations like the V8 Ranch. But also, and just as importantly, I have learned from bow-legged old cowboys like Dale Phelps that would help me saddle my horse in the back pens at my grandpa's sale barn. As I take what I have learned from them and stand on the shoulders of these industry giants, my main goal is to offer you a lift as well. To propel you to an even higher place than where I currently stand. Remember, this journey is a climb. You have the talent, you have the passion, you have what it takes to accomplish whatever it is in this life that you want to accomplish. I just want to be a small part of helping you do it. If you're still with me, I'm willing to bet that there are things in here hitting pretty close to home. I want to tell you, though, that you now have a choice. You can choose to continue with your head down, nose to the grindstone, and try to dig yourself out of this impossible rut. Or you can accept my offer of help and take a moment in time to invest in you. Are you currently living the dream? Is your cattle operation everything that you want it to be? Are you making the amount of money that you want to be making with your business? If the answers are no, then no problem. I'm offering you the tools that can change those answers to yes. In the Cattle Coach Academy course, I will cover inside conversations with other industry leaders about how they found success in their programs. We'll learn how to gain and implement a healthy money mindset. We'll look at cattle investments as if they were true stock investments, trying to gain and grow wealth. We'll learn how to effectively utilize banking and so much more. The choice is yours. You have the opportunity here and now to write a different story. Your story of financial freedom. You want to do this to gain knowledge and a new perspective so that once implemented, you can stop chasing and actually have the life of your dreams.